Now that I've gotten into the full swing of things, and I'm making videos about material that I actually care about, I wanted to cover Steve the Unknown Nerd's video on Doodletones. For those who haven't been following along, Grade A Under A made a video talking about the 2016 presidential election. Former commentator YouTube Dude then commentated on that. Tom4472 then covered that, and Doodletones covered that. The video we will be covering by Steve the Unknown Nerd then covered that video.
Oh, and by the way, he's a text commentator. Again, not that this is a problem per se, but considering that I have viewers who like to listen to my videos over actually watching them, we're gonna have to add a voice to Steve's video.
This is YouTube, not Spotify, so my points wouldn't be less valid or invalid even if I had a voice in my videos or not.
That's literally not what she said. She simply just said that she had to add a voice to your video because she has viewers that like to listen to her as background noise. And I also disagree with Doodletones here. There actually is something wrong with being a text commentator, that being intrigue and interest. Videos are both a visual and audio medium, and taking away the audio means that people can't listen to the video as background noise, for example, taking away some of the options when watching Steve's video, and it also makes it less interesting. Also, considering that your video is degree 6 in this chain, Steve, it's kind of sad that you don't give any context. Your viewer is going to be very confused. This skip card lasts for way too long. People have the ability to read and they do not need 14 seconds for it. You're also putting your video at higher risk of being taken down because of the clip you used. SpongeBob clips usually end up getting videos taken down. Just use shorter skip cards in future.
Hi everyone, Steve the Unknown Nerd here, and welcome to another commentary. So you all know I covered a video by Doodletones, right? Well, it seems that people didn't watch the video, so let me tell you why these people are just sticking him.
Oh, and here's a similar problem. Okay, to better explain my problems with both of these introductory statements, they're actually very preemptive. Like, video 1 is labeling me as someone who is easily called out for being a hypocrite with invalid points otherwise, putting in this notion that the audience will be in for a bunch of that moving forward, and giving that audience less of a reason to go into my video with more of an open mind. This is what I was trying to imply with my last interjection. You're starting the video giving irrelevant and unfavorable information about me with the intent to discredit my video. It's what we, in the business, call poisoning the well. Video 2 may not be exactly the same issue at first glance, but we do have the problem of Steve spitefully saying that anyone who is defending me is merely doing it blindly without any recollection of what it said within his own videos. Which I know probably some people will do. I'm not saying that these people don't exist, let me be perfectly clear. But to paint with such a broad brush to any of his potential detractors under that guise is merely used as a shield from critique, if anything, and it's quite discouraging to see, especially when you take comments like these.
I'm ending it here. My final thoughts. Tom, just stop making commentaries. You are shit. You can't debunk anything. Leave commentaries to better YouTuber. Don't ever make a video like this ever again. Now fuck off and do something you're good at.
Which, while do contain their own bouts of problems, considering nothing is fully elaborated on, and his final thoughts are destructive as hell.
Oh, and you're going to elaborate as to why, right, Doodle?
You left over a minute of her video in just to say one sentence. It didn't even address what Doodle was saying properly. Plus, she did elaborate as to why it was destructive. She read the comment aloud, and it had been full of insults and encouraging Tom to stop making commentaries. Even if that wasn't good enough in elaboration, she doesn't need to fully elaborate due to the fact that this is not actually her main point, merely elaboration on why poisoning the well is bad.
And, which will be of importance later, still contain a modicum of understanding as to what the context is saying. So
Hold the phone. You don't elaborate as to why it's destructive. You just say it is and move on.
Because she already read it aloud, showing its destructive nature. Plus, it wasn't her main point, merely elaborating on why poisoning the well is bad. You are asking her to elaborate on an elaboration. Also, why is the text gone? It's a small nitpick, but it means your video lacks consistency, and it generally shows a lack of effort.
ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Tom4472, a commentator whose channel consists of primarily re-uploads with...
Is it really a problem that his channel has re-uploads?
No, it's not a problem at all. It's just something that he does a lot on his channel.
Well, prove it.
Hang on, she was just explaining what he did. Why does this need evidence when it's not really a point she tries to make against him or anything like that, simply some level of context? Also, it's really funny to me that you don't ask for proof in degree 4, your video on Doodle's video on Tom, where she makes the exact same claim. Why did you make it now and not then? Is it because his re-uploads are down now?
So you think people telling Tom his channel is cancer is criticism? Newsflash, it isn't. Here is proof. Doodletones own you. Your channel is cancer.
I mean, technically, that's not proof of how that's not helping someone, But I get what you mean. You're trying to provide evidence that it happened to begin with, and you know what? That's fair. Someone did go in to say that Tom's channel is cancer. Though with that in mind, I still have some gripes with this. The first one being that we just have one example. One situation of an individual going out of their way to kind of be a prick and trying to lynch Tom for what just amounted to a bad video at worst. For all we know, though, this could just be a cherry-picked example of one guy who was out to be malicious or otherwise trolling Tom to get some sort of rise out of him. You know, akin to just a robot fans.
You did not just put, well, he deserved it in text on the top of the screen. What does Tom deserve it for? Daring to commentate on people? This comes off as destructive on your end, and while we're on the topic of destructive, you constantly misgender Doodletones throughout this video and your other one. There's even an example of this in a prior point in this specific video that I'm making.
I arrived at this channel in 2019, so we can't really look at this with the account of my fans in general going after Tom. My second complaint is how when you look at Tom's comment section, it is totally cherry-picked. Like, yeah, there are definitely people out here being a fucking asshat to Tom, but there's only one who outright called his channel cancerous in any form. Everyone else who attacked him had some other methods of doing so. All of which will become an interesting discussion point later on, so keep The Girl Is Done, Daniel Smith, and Studio 71 in your mind for later, because they are pretty important players in this game.
Or, we could leave them out of this, because they have reasons as to why they did it.
So because they had a reason, they are totally justified? So I could insult you to your face, and so long as I had a reason, I'd be justified? And besides, the best reason I can think of that they would have is they made a bad video. Oh no, the horror. Having reasons doesn't necessarily justify everything, especially if the reasons are petty or non-existent in the first place. Speaking of, what are these reasons? You never actually go on to explain what these reasons are. Maybe you didn't know what the reasons are, then why would you explain that they had reasons? And what we can gather from the comments themselves is that their reasons are either petty at best, or childishly hateful at worst. Either way, that doesn't excuse how destructive they are being. The Girl Is Done, Daniel, and Studio's comments were nothing but baseless insults, with Studio even going as far as to discourage Tom from improving, while also not explaining why Tom botched the commentary in the first place.
You accuse me of telling Tom that he's not allowed to criticize YouTube Dude, when not only I, A, never said that, and B, outwardly gave Tom a pass within my initial video with a point he made regarding some screenshots that YouTube Dude put within his own video, not showing us, the audience, what he was talking about.
By that she means,
oh no, there's a point I can't debunk. Help, I need to find a way to debunk hell. Oh fuck it, looks like I'm screwed, and I don't like that.
Well, she debunked the comments, so you're literally wrong. Also, are you suggesting that she makes videos just to debunk people even if there's no logical way to do so? Considering you have no evidence, I have zero reason to believe you, and it's a completely outlandish claim, too.
I even wrote why I skipped in the script. Grant you wouldn't have seen it, but this is why you don't assume now, isn't it?
Hypocrite, you dirty hypocrite. You're gonna pay the price someday.
oh, remember this from my video on her and Pink Robot.
Care to elaborate as to why she's a hypocrite or not? Considering you got on her case for not elaborating, it's pretty funny and ironic that you didn't do it here. Your second point is flawed because people don't know what they're supposed to be remembering, and it has a lack of elaboration. And also, what about those people that just watched your video on Doodletones and Pink Robot and just not this one? Surely it would be a better idea to remind your audience then, and not say keep it in mind for the next video.
As is, and I don't want to waste everything I want to say on just the first 2 minutes alone. And 3, I don't even know where I would begin with that intro skit anyway.
What's wrong with his intro skit? How is Tom going to improve if you don't tell him what he's doing warm?
By the other things I mentioned in the video?
Oh no, don't try and backpedal now. Your wording sounded like you had problems with the intro skit.
First of all, she said that she didn't know where to begin with the problems on the intro skit. And second of all, her wording here implies that he could improve his intro skit with the other things in the video, because his intro skit has the same problems.
Once again, remember this for her video with Pink Robot.
Remember what? It was going way too fast for me to understand it.
That's somewhat had said. His jail is important to Grade's video as he's trying to sell us on the idea that we should vote for her, or at the very least put some consideration to who she is when we vote. No matter how you slice this, it's not double standards, and I've never seen a usage of the term this misplaced before.
And I've never seen a video that made me want to do a video on it so badly. I've also never seen someone be this fucking biased to another user for just criticizing your friend. Grow the fuck up, Doodle, and learn that your friend YouTube Dude is open to criticism.
But I already knew that, though. If someone came around and made a legitimately good commentary on YouTube Dude, that would be one thing. But guess what I didn't see Tom's video as demonstrated within my own commentary? You haven't really debunked anything anyways. You've been merely just getting angry over how I felt about Tom's video through the actual points of contention that I had with said video. I'm not sure whether it's because you're a fan of Grade, you hate YouTube Dude, or a friend of Tom's, or just hate me for whatever arbitrary reason you have, but
I'm none of those. I was building up anger just for the fun of it. It's called playing a character. This was the easiest thing to debunk.
Your character fails in many ways. Text-to-speech has no inflection, so you can't make it clear that you're joking or not, and the text has even less inflection, so you really can't do anything about that. It doesn't look like a joke, it just looks like you're getting angry. And besides, that doesn't actually excuse the fact that the interjection was absolutely pointless and nothing but an ad hominem attack. It's fine if you want to insult somebody and debunk their points, but if you're just insulting them, that's when I tend to have a problem.
What I didn't say in my last video, I thought Tom's and your comment sections was bad, but now that I think about it, your video was worse.
I mean, I'd argue that's subjectivity. At least I didn't say that no one liked Tom, didn't tell him to quit commentaries, nor did I call him a goddamn pedophile whose channel is cancer.
OMFG, just stop fucking talking.
What did I just say? In fact, this is even less than pointless. In fact, it could be seen as a concession, because you're basically saying, just shut up and take your win. If they stop talking, they can't argue back, and thus that means that you effectively stop the debate. You would lose immediately due to burden of rejoinder.
I can definitely point out an odd instance to those labels myself, and let's just say you are definitely the last person who should be bringing up the topic. As I said, I surely noticed your friends in Tom's comment sections as well. Here's the interesting part of the video, because while yeah, this does sound a bit conspiratorial at face value, I have good reason to believe that some of these other comments I'm seeing in Tom's comment section are either sock puppet accounts run by Steve himself, or are Steve's close friends, and I'm more leaning towards the latter, but I wouldn't be surprised if the former happened to be true. Because remember when I brought up that wonderful comment by The Girl Is Done? You know, the one straight up calling Tom a pedophile? Yeah, she was particularly a point of interest for me. Like, Steve, bruh, did you not think I wouldn't catch how similar your profile pictures are?
One I'm about to say debunks this. And your next point, Sarah's channel was made in 2018 and has made a few videos.
Wait, you don't show the videos. And besides, I actually went and looked. The videos themselves are all just pictures of girls, something an alt would easily be able to do without revealing themselves.
But oh wait, if you had shown this it would have hurt your point. Oh well.
First of all, where did you hear the information regarding my live stream where your video was brought up?
Okay, let me tell you, Sarah texted me through Facebook saying you were streaming, you were talking to YouTube Dude about my video and how I used SpongeBob as my avatar. Are you happy now?
If I could bring up an albeit petty point, you literally cut in to explain exactly what Doodle had guessed. GG, redundant redundancy.
Surely if you weren't watching my stream, someone had to tell you who was watching live, correct? Well, there's nothing in any of your comment sections worth noting. Most of your comment sections anyway are nuked, minus a few examples to the contrary, so perhaps someone mentioned these things to you in DMs. Could it have been The Girl Is Done? The one that you call by the name of Sarah? Showing that at the very least you have some connection to this individual that's more than just some rando who could have messaged you somewhere out of the blue? Like, you two are certainly on a first name basis, correct? Or how about this Studio 71 guy? What did you call him? Richard? Yeah, this was the dude who straight up told Tom to quit making videos in a comment I brought up earlier that debunked the claim you made regarding people not watching the video before hating. Isn't that an interesting tidbit? Or, hey, Daniel is here too. For those who don't remember, he's the guy Pac-Man fan within his comment section on Steve's first video had mentioned. Yeah, he's also a player on the seemingly targeted harassment of Tom. We know these people are his friends too. We can see that within Steve's commentary history. His first video, the one on Illumination, even has just the three of them in his comments around the time of the video's post, calling him a friend directly, and even using the premiere live chat to someone who would have had no prior fan base built by the time of this video. All of these comments hearted and not nuked either, which is a particularly strange break from the pattern of every other video Steve has posted otherwise. This is the case with the second video on me too. Don't think I don't see you guys in there doing the same thing with the same strange behavioral patterns that make no sense. When we got an example of a fan of mine who went out to harass Tom though, we didn't get any of these names. We got this one Jeff the Lion person, someone who Steve seemingly doesn't have any connection to. But when you remove the comments from Sarah, Richard, and Daniel, you get the solid one example of a person railing on Tom unjustly. And I have my theories as to why this happens too, but nothing entirely substantiated with solidified evidence.
Isn't it funny how she doesn't talk about the other 3 comments that we see? In her own screenshot and another thing, she never tried once to prove these comments wrong. They're just wrong and we have to take her word for it. I mean, Doodle, by all means prove those comments wrong. Sarah, is it less proving something that you're not?
You left over 2 minutes of her video in just to strawman her point from these guys are friends of yours and also appeared in the comment section of Tom's video harassing him to these comments are wrong. Not even all of that is necessary context. Your interjection proved nothing and it just showed that you were avoiding the issue. Also, did I mention the burden of proof was on Sarah? I mean, the things she labeled out do not actually equal pedophilia.
So I'll keep them off to the side until further notice. But regardless of the why Sarah, Richard, and Daniel may have left these comments onto Tom's video, the fact of the matter is, they're there.
We have a very good reason for it. Now shut the fuck up.
What's the reason? You don't go and explain it. Also, you don't prove her wrong. You're getting suspiciously defensive. I mean, someone could look at that interjection from a cynical point of view and say that you admitted to it.
Initially, I figured I was going to come into this video, make a short commentary without any particular standout moments, and call it a day. Well, God is real and he hates me, obviously. For someone who wants to give this pre-notion that I'm biased and to take people out of context, what is self-awareness anymore? After this video, I'm fairly certain it's a myth created by the Illuminati to support the patriarchy or some fucking bullshit like that. As presuming intention of my character and pushing a narrative that I'm only out to defend YouTube dude or Lambass Tom for merely existing isn't even the worst thing that this video gives us. Almost everything that you accuse me of doing in my video applies back to your own, and possibly worse given the context seen surrounding this video. You took me out of context numerous times. You labeled me as biased. You accused me of sending hate after Tom.
If you're not going to argue Sarah's comment and prove it wrong, then stop using it to discredit me.
She doesn't need to prove it wrong. It's the reason that she's using it to show that you, or your close friends, all sent this targeted harassment campaign against Tom. She could debunk it very easily just by saying those things don't equal pedophilia and there's no examples of those things equaling pedophilia. But again, she doesn't have to, because that's not the usage of the comment.
My bad.
Also, I think Tom deserves an apology from your friends, but maybe that's asking for too much. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, though.
Here's a better idea for the both of you, just kill yourselves. Because no one cares about the both of you. Anyway everyone, this is Steve the Unknown Nerd signing off. See you guys in my next commentary.
You have misrepresented commentary as a genre so hard here. Let's start off with how destructive your video is. First of all, you tell Tom and Doodle to kill themselves. How is that a solution? How is that going to constructively help them? On top of that, it's simply toxic, and the only reason I can think of you doing this is because she dared to respond to you. Final thoughts are, this was awful. There was a lot of misrepresentation of Doodle's points and attempts to tear her down for no reason. I would say more, but there's not much else I can actually say that would compare to this. Anyway, thanks for watching this video through to the end. I know it was quite a long